Hey everybody, it's Silver Seeker, and today we're going to be talking about digital fiat currencies and precious metals. Now, when I'm talking about digital fiat currencies, keep in mind I'm not talking about cryptocurrencies. Those are completely different. If you guys aren't sure, maybe some of you are new to this, maybe some of you aren't, maybe most of you know what a fiat currency is. But a fiat currency is a currency that is a centralized currency created and controlled and maintained by a government, such as the United States, that is not backed by a commodity such as gold or silver. That is what a fiat currency is. And all a digital fiat currency is just a digital incarnation of said currency system. Whereas a cryptocurrency system or a cryptocurrency in general, like Bitcoin or Ethereum, is maintained and controlled by a decentralized network of computers that is basically unbreakable, at least with today's current technology. We don't need to really get into it. How the blockchain works or how what the nodes are, the mining computers and all that control it. But we don't need to get into that today, but we should at least let you know what the difference is between digital fiat currency and cryptocurrency. So I wanted to clarify what I'm talking about. So guys, we're going to get into this. We're going to talk, and normally you guys are used to seeing me on camera. I'm normally a talking head, not some talking hands. But, it's allergy season and my eyes are puffy and red and I'm uglier than I normally am. So we'll just have some talking hands in this one. But before we get into it, guys, two things. One, this cannot be construed as financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Please take it as opinion and opinion only. And two, guys, if you're new to the channel, believe it or not, more than 60% of the people that watch my channel are not subscribed. So do me a favor, go down below, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet, and click the bell so you don't miss my future video notifications. All right, so let's get into it, guys, and let's talk about digital fiat and precious metals and why I'm really, especially going into this digital world, I really just put even more faith into things like this and the precious metals as opposed to fiat currency. Of course, fiat currency not being backed by a commodity such as gold or silver really does essentially make it worth what it's worth just because people believe that it is, because the government says it is. In the case of the US dollar has been the world's reserve currency since the 40s and the Bretton Woods Agreement. And that's getting into a bunch of stuff that we don't really need to talk about here. What we really want to talk about, a cashless society and a digital fiat currency. Of course, China has the digital yuan already that's has been tested for like the last year, maybe more, 2 years. I don't know. You guys have to give me, info on that in the comments. Maybe I'm wrong on exactly how long the test was going on, but there's really a driving force behind that. They're going to be pushing that out. It's supposed to replace at least some of the cash transactions in China. And I'm sure as time goes on, they're going to want to get rid of all cash and go completely digital. And that's where you get the cashless society from. I mean, we've been looking at this for years. If you think about it, in the last 15 years, it wasn't just 15 years ago. And the reason I say this is because I used to work in IT. I actually was a network engineer. I worked for a company who had got a contract to go around and install all of the credit card systems in like Burger Kings and McDonald's. And guys, that wasn't even 15 years ago. It was like 15, maybe it was 15, but it wasn't 20. It wasn't 2 decades ago. So think about it. Less than 2 decades ago, going through a drive-through, if you didn't have cash, you weren't going to be able to buy anything because cash was king. Today, if it's more like if you don't have your debit card, I mean, granted, most of these places still have cash, but let me give you an example, a real world example, something that happened to me just a few days ago, about a week ago, maybe now. I mean, timeline is kind of irrelevant to the story, but I was going through a McDonald's drive-through and the person in front of me was at the drive-through window and they were ordering their food. And I heard the lady yell. I mean, I guess they were ordering their food, but I heard the lady inside the car in front of me start yelling at the person in the microphone. And I didn't hear everything that she said, but what I did hear very clear was she said, "You guys should put a sign out front and let people know so they aren't wasting their time waiting in line." And I had no idea. What this lady was yelling about, okay? But I was about to find out because I was going to be going up and I was going to be getting, my order placed. And so I pull up, I get to the window, and the first thing I hear is obviously the normal welcome to McDonald's spiel, whatever. But, and then the lady gets on the microphone and she goes, "Just to let you know, our credit card machines are down, so we are only accepting cash." And to me, that wasn't a problem because I always have cash on me. Now, of course, I am a huge believer in silver and gold and precious metals in general and stacking what you can physically hold, what's actually worth something. To me, guys, this is real money. The cash that I kept in my wallet to be able to make that purchase at McDonald's is not what I consider real money. Now, I do recognize that that is what is accepted pretty much anywhere where I want to go and exchange something for a good or a service. Generally, that's what's accepted. But at the end of the day, it's a fiat currency. It's not backed by anything. And the government continues to print it into oblivion. I mean, last year alone, in 2020, 40% of the money that's ever been created was created in 2020 in the US. 40% of it, guys. I mean, if you look at a pie and you have hundreds of years, well, I mean, the first US dollar was 1914, okay? But if you look at from 1914 to 2021, okay, so over 106 years if you look at 2020. But anyway, that's besides the point. 40% of it was made in 1 year out of all of those years, out of over 100 years. 40% of the money that's ever been printed was printed in one of those years, just one. And now remember, the US dollar has been the world's reserve currency since Bretton Woods. And now we have this China digital yuan, and China's been wanting to become the world's reserve currency forever. And now they have this digital currency, which they're trying to push. But that's besides the point. I'm kind of getting off track here. But my point is that this lady left. And so I'm like, sure, I will make my payment with cash. No problem. I placed my order. Let's be honest, I shouldn't be ordering from McDonald's. Not exactly a super thin guy, and McDonald's is horrible for you, and it's horrible food to boot. So it's like, it's bad for you and it's not good, but at the same time, we still go get it. I don't know why that is. That's another discussion. But anyway, not a problem. So I place my order, and then I go through the line. And as I'm waiting to get through the line, 2 or 3 other cars, maybe even 4, I don't remember, 2 or 3 other cars leave. So that's 3 or 4 people that, because all they had on them was their debit card, they didn't have any way to physically pay for their meal. They had to go. They couldn't buy anything. Could you imagine in a cashless society where 2 things? One, let's just say the network is down and they don't have electricity. How are you going to pay for anything? And then 2, and that, obviously, with technology right now, that can definitely happen. Look at Texas just a few months ago with the rolling blackouts because of the winter storm that they weren't prepared for. You think that can't happen elsewhere? You got something coming to you. It can definitely happen pretty much anywhere. But that's 2. What happens when you get into a situation? Let's say the government doesn't like some of the stuff that you said online, and we're not going to get political here. This is not a political channel, so don't get into the politics, but let's just say that the government doesn't like something that you said online. Well, they control your currency. So the government can just be like, look, you're not allowed to buy McDonald's with your currency because we didn't like what you said. Or McDonald's may be like, oh, we don't like this guy because he said some things that we don't like on Facebook, and so we're not going to accept his money. Is that something that we really want? Well, I'm telling you, it sounds dystopian, but it can happen with a complete digital cashless society. It can absolutely happen. And I think it's something that a lot of people should really, at least if they're not worried about it, if they don't think it's going to get that bad, they should at least be aware of the possibility of something like that coming. And, it was only 15 years ago when cashes, all these drive-thrus, for example, took. And now what is it? We're 5-10 years away from having the digital dollar. The digital yuan is already a thing. What other world currencies are going to be digital? How quickly are we going to get to a cashless society? So, I mean, is your cash, the government doesn't like something you said on Facebook. Maybe you made a joke to the friend. Maybe you said something that you just felt like saying because you believed in it. And the government doesn't like what you said. And so they ban you from purchasing a gun. What about our rights, huh? What about 2A? What about our Second Amendment rights? Well, they're going to be taken away because of, our First Amendment right, and then we have the Second Amendment. We have, all right, I know we said we're not getting political, and this isn't political. This isn't left versus right or Republican and Democrat and Libertarian. This is just reality. We have rights. We have the First Amendment, and we have the Second Amendment to protect the First. Well, what happens when the First Amendment destroys your ability to exercise your Second Amendment because they don't like something that you said? So I think that's why, if you're not concerned, maybe you should be, maybe you shouldn't be. I don't know. It's just, I wanted to talk about this because it's something I think about a lot, and it's something that really scares me. And so I think a lot of people would be really smart to invest at least a little bit of their wealth into something that's actually worth something. Now, we can also get into the fact, and I already brought this up, but I was kind of going off base when I talked about it, but we can also start talking about the government printing as much money as they want. 40% in 2020. So as we go through inflation, and we're already seeing inflation, if you think that we're not seeing inflation right now, go to Home Depot and buy a 2x4. Okay? Just do it. Go to the gas station and look at the price of gas today versus even last year. Look at the cost of food. Go to the grocery store and look how much bread and eggs and milk are compared to what they were 3 or 4 years ago. You think it's not happening now? It's already there. I mean, the dollar is designed. The dollar is designed for inflation. They're saying 2% a year, but we all know it's more than that. And it's a lot more than that right now. I don't know. Look, the truth is that I'm not an economist and I don't know everything, but it doesn't take an economist to see what's going on. It just takes somebody opening their eyes and just noticing. And it's scary. So I don't believe that we're going to wake up tomorrow and that the dollar is going to collapse. And I don't believe that the dollar is going to go anywhere anytime soon. But the value of the dollar is definitely changing. And the dollar being the world's reserve currency may not even be a thing in 10 or 15 years. I mean, we don't know. I mean, if other countries start losing faith in the dollar, let's just say China has its way and this digital yuan thing becomes the new world's reserve currency. People start trusting China's economy more than the US. I mean, the reason that the US dollar, so when we went off, so let me start by talking about why the US dollar became the world's reserve currency in the first place. So the Bretton Woods Agreement was a bunch of countries that basically, agreed to have their currency, related to the dollar. So their currency would have an exchange rate to the US dollar because the US dollar was backed by gold. And at the time, the US owned a majority of the gold. And even though they agreed that their currency shouldn't be tied to gold and silver, it should be tied to the dollar because the dollar is tied to gold and silver. Well, when the US started printing all of this money, they started printing all of this money. I mean, it's nothing like it is now, but they started printing all of this money. And these countries started getting worried about the value of the dollar dropping. And so they started trying to cash in their dollars and their bonds and everything like that. And, get their payment in gold from the US. So the demand for gold from the US skyrocketed. And that's why we went off of the gold standard. And now we have a US reserve currency that is still the US dollar. But the value of the US dollar, the only reason that the world reveres the US dollar is because the US economy is so strong. But the US, again, we're printing so much money that it does bring in the question, how long is that going to be the thing? How long is it going to be before another country with a hugely strong economy like China steps in and people start trusting the digital yuan or yuan or however you want to pronounce it? They start trusting the digital yuan better than they trust the US dollar. Once our currency stops being the world's reserve currency, if you think you've never seen inflation before, you will see it then. So I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying it could happen. I'm not saying that it could happen tomorrow. I'm just saying that it could happen. And you should at least be aware. So if anything, that's why I have so much faith in gold and silver. And I will continue to have faith in gold and silver because at the end of the day, I know that I am holding something with intrinsic value. I know that this silver will always have value. Always. It always has. It has for millennia. This gold right here will always have value. The US dollar may not. I'm just saying. So, again, this is just me doing a fireside style chat, and I know I slowed it down a little bit when I really just wanted to get a point across, but it's just something everyone should be thinking about. At least I know I am. So listen up, guys. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you agreed with a little bit of what I said. But at the end of the day, I hope that you enjoyed at least listening to me, even if you disagree. But I'd love to hear you down below in the comments. So go down there and let me know what you think. I'd love to hear it. I read my comments. I really do. I don't respond to the majority of them because my entire day would be just responding to comments. but I do respond to some of them, especially ones with, questions that I feel important enough to answer. And every once in a while, I respond to some other ones just because, it's something that I feel needs a response. But either way, guys, I'd love to hear what you think. So again, go down below, leave a comment. And if you're new, don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I did leave a video above you can check out if you haven't seen it yet. I also want to give a huge shout out and a huge thank you to my awesome channel supporters scrolling right there on the right hand of the screen. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.